He didn't fire the host, but he did end up accidentally or on purpose.
There you go. Go to Grammarly.com. They'll help you with that.
Is that true?
Yeah, it is true.
Is it AI?
Just go wild.
Throwing Mike McCarthy's play calling under the bus. Here's Jerry's critique and McCarthy's response.
The types of things that we all think we should be looking at is, well, we're designing bad plays or we're designing bad concepts.
I talk to Jerry all the time. You know, we've had time to go through the self-scout, so I can't really. I didn't see the comments specifically, so but I don't think we have bad concepts and bad plays. But I'll go back and check.
Okay, your reaction to this?
This is a bunch of hot garbage from Jerry Jones. Straight garbage and foolishness from Jerry Jones. And I mean it. I mean, first of all, Derrick Henry wouldn't be having a career year if he was in Dallas. Okay, maybe he wouldn't be on pace to break the all-time rushing record.
So
but
you agree with
Jerry? What
Jerry?
we do know is that he'd be better than Rico Dowdle and then done that in Dallas. And then he added on, I don't know if it was on the tape or not, when he talked, he lied again, Nick. You know this about we didn't have the money either. We needed it for other people. No, you could have had the money for Derrick Henry. So this is just foolishness. And then to go off about the play, not well-designed plays and
bad concepts.
Bad concepts. Yeah. Would those be the same plays and concepts that helped you win 12 games last year? It's the same offensive coordinator, same play caller, same head coach. So he doesn't want to take responsibility for not putting the pieces together for Mike McCarthy to do well. This is just exhibit 4087. 4087 for why Jerry Jones should speak like 1/100th less in the public than he does.
It
might be 1/1000.
Yeah,
less. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like,
I got it.
He's speaking way too much because now, look, they have a huge game.
You don't say.
Coming off the bye, San Francisco's vulnerable. You need this W, and he has just created another distraction. Yeah. Players are wondering, what Jerry talking about? Mike McCarthy, you know that's going to be in the back of his head. This is some nonsense. And look, I am hard but fair on the Cowboys players. When they don't perform well, when poorly, I call them out for bringing their F game instead of their A game. And you know what?
Wait,
I got to do it to everybody.
Thursday grade?
Everybody in the Cowboys. Jerry Jones brought his F game to that interview. Wow. Period.
Wow,
that's foolishness.
You
should be strengthening your team instead of causing distractions.
Is it F for foolishness?
F for foolishness, F for fraudulent, F for frivolous.
Okay, good
right
job.
There.
For fictional, which is what he's lying about. Derrick Henry could have signed him.
Okay. Jerry's become a bit of a menace.
Okay.
You think?
And there's no other, I can't defend it. So I try to defend the Cowboys team because I feel like they are unfairly, in some ways, held to a double standard through no fault of their own. Through some of Jerry's foolishness creates it, but I try to level set for some of the conversations. Like, it's not that I'm not some Cowboys fan. I've never been a Cowboys fan. I think that their successes are minimized and their failures are magnified. So I try to kind of
like I would do with Garoppolo. I would defend him against.
Okay, sure. I mean, I suppose, but Jerry Jones, while always eccentric and while always doing these interviews, that's not new. Right. This is who he's been. The last 8 months with the Cowboys, the blow-by-blow of it has been disastrous ownership. There's no way around it. So let's just start playoff. They lose the playoff game. He then has a major decision. Do I bring back Mike McCarthy? Do I fire the head coach?
Yeah.
Do I extend the head coach? Do I bring back the head coach with no extension in a lame duck year? I would argue option 3 is the worst of all 3. That's the one he went with. His next major move, or decision tree, free agency. Well, we know we have holes on this team, and we know we are going to lose guys in free agency. The only way we're going to be able to sign guys, the easiest way, is if we get Dak Prescott's deal taken care of. No, I'm not going to do that, so we're going to sit out free agency, essentially sit it out as a whole. Their biggest acquisition, Eric Kendricks, they got by accident. Kendricks had agreed to terms somewhere else, I forget where, and then when the Cowboys brought in Mike Zimmer, he was like, no, I actually want to play with Mike, if you remember that. That was their biggest acquisition. So that was a whiff. During the draft, he reveals their draft plans, and maybe they would have gotten that running back, maybe not, but he prematurely reveals it, they get no one. So that was a whiff. He waits till the final moment to sign CeeDee Lamb with no possible explanation for that. That was a whiff. I defended them on the Dak Prescott thing repeatedly because I thought they weren't going to sign him.
Right.
I thought the idea was we actually are sitting out free agency on purpose as almost a informational gathering tool. We want to see before we pay Dak what he would look like without a stacked team. It's a odd choice, but I thought logically could make sense. Right. And instead, you got the worst of all worlds. Sat out free agency entirely, had a massive distraction all offseason, and then paid Dak top of the market anyway.
The morning of
the game. He folds his hand. And since the season started, right before the season started, we've had Dak Prescott have to say, I tuned Jerry out. Since the season started, every loss is a 5-alarm fire because of his comments. He creates controversy during a bye week because he wants to fire the radio host that he may or may not be able to fire. He goes after Mike McCarthy. He gives on-the-record long quotes about, just for the record, on these tours. I don't give a damn what any players would think. We're going to do it my way. And this is why I think it's so off the rails right now. It's all because he cannot bring himself to admit the problem with the Cowboys right now is there's not enough talent on the roster because he's the one in charge of the talent. And in the midst of the offseason, he gave a quote saying, he dropped 100 F-bombs and said, nobody could do this job better than me.
That wasn't great.
And so I try to bring a balance to a lot of the Cowboys stuff because I do think they are mocked in the media more than most teams.
Mocked?
I don't even mean by you. I mean maybe by guys wearing cowboy hats and making odd home videos. But I think this is indefensible. I think it's totally indefensible. And Jerry right now is their biggest stumbling block to success.
You think? Really?
Are you being sarcastic or serious?
No, I'm being serious.
Oh, yeah, I do.
They can't run the ball.
But he's in charge of
he's the reason.
He's their GM.
Yeah.
So he's done that poorly, and he just creates negative news cycle after negative news cycle, which clearly impacts their players to a degree.
Nick, there's only one thing left for you to add.
You were right.
That too. Okay. Two things. Should have kept Tony Pollard.
Okay. Oh, my God.
They definitely should have. They'd be better.
That's the sign.
Make it an F- after Nick said.
Meanwhile, the Cowboys are preparing to play the 49ers, who waxed them last year 42-10. Purdy's squad is still favored by 4, even though he's missing several players. And Debo still recovering from an illness. Now, a loss would drop San Fran to 3-5, Brew. Is there more pressure on Purdy or Shanahan?
Well, you see there who I assume Kittle will play. Debo, I'm guessing probably.
Kittle's going to play.
Yeah, Kittle will, but Jennings and Debo, who knows? Here's the other guys, though, and these guys have been out, but Javon Hargrave.
Well, he's out for the year.
Yeah. Dre Greenlaw.
He hasn't come back from the Super Bowl.
Hufunga.
He came back and then got hurt again.
Right. So they're missing not just those guys offensively, Ayuk and McCaffrey, I didn't even mention, but all these other guys. Honestly, you could argue the Cowboys should win this game. And so I don't think there's a lot of pressure, hear me out, on Shanahan or Purdy. But if of the two I had to pick, I'd say Purdy. Because Purdy doesn't have the bag. Like Shanahan's got the security, and that's fine, he's earned it. But Purdy, as good as he's been, does not yet have the bag. And if he looks terrible again, and then again, well, let's just keep it on the Cowboys game. If he plays a bad game, a horrible game, he had 3 interceptions, obviously, last week against the Chiefs. If he does something similar again, then now you already have Nick and some others who are like, does he deserve that money? That's just going to start getting louder. I don't think he has to be phenomenal. I don't think he has to throw for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns and lead them to victory. I think he has to play pretty well. He may even be able to withstand a loss.
Sure.
But play pretty well, and that should be enough. But because he doesn't have the money, he is under the most pressure, and some people still have questions about it.
Well, there are certainly, our show is a unique one because of Wild's, I think, potential Kyle Shanahan opinion. But Shanahan is mostly universally accepted as a great